I'm starting to think that the plasma cutter is one of the most intriguing machines in the fabrication industry. And that's because you can cut anywhere from sheet metal, half inch, or even 1 inch on many cases with a simple machine without oxygen settling in those torches. So just using a 1.5 gal, 135 max PSI up to a 60 or 100 gallon, you've got a range that you can use with probably you have, as far as the compressor over in the corner there. So the Cut 65 is actually rated at 5/8 of a clean cut up to a 63 64th max cut. So to be able to use this on a 220 65 amp running off of, on average a 15 or 30 gallon compressor, that's pretty impressive. But what I found recently that using this 1.5 gal, I was able to cut sheet metal, and I was cutting up to a 1/4 inch metal, and I was able to use that comfortably within the duty cycle of this. So this right here has a 6 minutes out of 10 minutes, so 6 minutes on, 4 minutes off rest time. And so when you're cutting sheet metal, it seemed like this right here was actually keeping up with the demand of the machine here. Now, once you start getting into a 3/8 for a consistent time, or even a 1/4 inch for a consistent time, especially some of the thicker material, you'll definitely need a larger compressor than this. You'll probably want a 15, 30, ideally a 60 or 100 gallon range there if you're cutting for extended periods of time. But depending on what you're using it for, you can get by with, the compressor that's over in the side of the garage without investing a lot of money. So instead of using grinding discs time and time again, blowing through them, or, using oxygen settling and looking at torches as well as, the gases for that, hey, the Cut 65 is a banger when it comes down to that. So what we're looking at is a flash sale for a few hours right now. It's the lowest price that I've seen on it. This right here is a sweet machine. So one other thing to consider is there's a couple different models. You've got a Cut 50, 55 non-high frequency. You've got a 55, high frequency, and a 65 non-high frequency. So the non-high frequency setups would be ideal if you're ever looking to convert over to a plasma table. That way it does not interfere with electronics of that. But if you're not looking for that, you can look at the 50 or the 55 high frequency setups there, and they'll be just as fine. So again, 5/8 of a clean cut and basically 1 inch of the max cut. Now, the smaller the machine on the amperage, the less you'll be able to cut with that. But what I like about this machine here, it's actually got the regulator separator built into the machine. So you just adjust your dial indicator, we power it on. And this unit here being set up that you can run it into 2T or 4T, which is basically who's in control of the trigger squeeze here when it lets off. So when you're running the 110, you'll have a max up to about 45 amps on this. And then when you bump up to the 220, then you'll be able to run the 65 amp, which is the full duty cycle, the capability of the machine there. So now you can also change your post flow, and basically that's how long the gas will stay on once you release the trigger. So that's going to be anywhere from a 5-second all the 28-second range. And then you can also change your units as far as PSI and so forth. But when it comes down to it, out of the box, in about 15 minutes, you are actually making the cut. So all you got to do is plug in your compressor to the desired outlet here, and you can change that over as far as the fitting on it to have your standard style fitting. So from there, you ground your material out and you're ready to start cutting. So now another thing that I like about the Cut 65, you've actually got a set of training wheels that comes with, and basically just able to glide over that material without actually touching the tip to the material. So this is going to allow you to cut over rust and different scale and so forth that's on the workpiece there. So this right here also has about a 14 or 15 foot wand coming off of this here. So pretty sweet setup, and I've used it probably about 4 months now consistently, and I've been nothing but happy with it. So you can also run this again with the 110, 220. You get the provided adapter, pretty much everything that you need except for the compressor to get started. And when it comes to PPE, you have the safety in mind. They've got a nice jacket that you can protect your sleeves, and as well as the nice gloves. That way you're not burning through your hands, or time to upgrade. And that's a sweet little pair there. But when it comes down to it, they've got a nice flash sale for a few hours. If you miss a flash sale, check back with the coupons. But the Cut 65 DS, hands down, is my favorite. But the 55 and the 50, solid brand here. So check it out, the link down below if you want to find out more details. coming from YESWELDER and bridge the gap from the grinding disc and the oxygen acetylene. And the YESWELDER plasma cutter will do that.